Hi there, this is Nicole, and I am guest designing for the ScrapRoom for the month of August. If you don't currently follow me, my information will be down below in the description box below. I actually don't use my full name on YouTube, so my channel name is actually ColieBing, but I am Nicole. So when Rochelle reached out to me and asked if I wanted to be a guest designer for August, it was hands down yes, yes, yes. I am actually local to the scrap room and I have gone to all three of the crops that she has held. And my favorite part about her crops is being able to go to her on site store and cherry pick from previous flavors of the month kits and get the ones that you really, really love. So I was really excited when I got August's kit because I felt like all of the collections were pretty easy to use. And I chose to use the Echo Park School Rules collection for my sort of assignment for the month. And what I ended up doing with all of them was I sort of went through this method of just kind of laying everything out, looking at all of the supplies, and kind of trying to figure out what did I want to do with it and what was standing out to me. Now, she did give me the flavors of the month kit, which, as you guys know, is 4 separate sort of page kits that you can kind of do your own thing, or you can follow examples from the actual design team and follow their instructions to make double page layouts. I kind of issued a challenge to myself to not use a sketch and to kind of do my own thing. If you follow me on my channel already, you guys know that I love using sketches. I love scrap lifting, that kind of a thing. So I was kind of hesitant because normally when I do my own thing, they tend to kind of look the same. So I was just really excited to see where this was going to take me. And for me, the jumping off point of this page kit was the alphabet pattern paper, which this is the one that kind of looks like little flashcards everywhere. And I knew when I saw that paper that that was going to be a way for me to do kind of like a modified grid style layout, which is something that I love. And then it also kind of gives you an easy way to embellish your page, which I'll kind of get to that here in a little bit. So I was a little hesitant about cutting all of my papers up because this is a little bit different than kind of going into your stash where we all know we have unlimited paper. Like we can always go find something else to add to a page. I really wanted to stay within these kits. So I was very careful before I cut any of my papers. I tend to not lay everything out. I tend to just kind of go like immediately into cutting things. This method, I kind of settled back into laying everything out, really thinking about my decisions, and that was just kind of like a fun change to my process that I actually enjoyed. So I had actually gone into Photoshop Elements when I was resizing my photos and deciding what I was going to do, and I actually dropped in some rectangles that were the size of these flashcards and just kind of moved things around and manipulated things and ended up going with this sort of mirrored grid design here. At this point, I still didn't really know what I was going to do with background papers, the other 2 sheets of papers, which was the owl and the student plaid. At this point, I just knew where I wanted to put my photos and what I wanted to do with those flashcards. And I actually kept the flashcards in ABC order. That just kind of made sense to my brain. Originally, I thought, oh, I'll just pick my favorite cards, but it made more sense as far as paper reserving to cut 2 strips off and kind of work from there. And that way I had full size paper left over. Now, hands down, the B side to the owl paper was my favorite. I absolutely love wood grain, so I knew that that was one that I wanted to use. And then I really liked this kind of more busy A side that was like a school supply themed thing. And I had to kind of think about how I wanted to cut my papers to kind of maximize their potential in a sense. And I was a little bit thrown off when I opened the kit and I saw that there was black cardstock. I don't know that I've ever made a layout outside of maybe something for Halloween that used black cardstock. So I chose to do something that I kind of do more with single page layouts, where I leave a border around part of it and then put the paper completely to the edge for the other part. And so for me, the simple solution was basically to just cut them in half at 6 inches, cut off a 1/4 inch on the school supply one to give me that black frame. And it ended up, the further I got into the layout, it kind of made more sense to me about why Rochelle would have paired black cardstock with this line, because there are a lot of like black elements within the line. There's a black border on the flashcards. There's a lot of black going in with the sticker sheet and stuff like that. So I chose to just kind of go ahead and lean into that. That was outside of my norm. And to kind of keep everything cohesive and together, I just went ahead and inked the edges of everything with a black ink pad. Specifically, this is a VersaFine Onyx Black ink pad, I believe. It just happens to be the juiciest one that I have right now. Normally I use Distress Black Soot, but I need to get a re-inker. So again, I just kind of pulled out whatever I had handy and chose to ink the edges with that. With this being more of a pigment-based ink, I just tried to make sure that I was careful that when I did ink something, I set them away from each other until everything dried. That way I didn't get black lines on everything. And I did try to edit my video down as much as I possibly could, and I think I'm right at like a 15-minute mark, so I apologize to anybody that doesn't like longer videos, but I tend to I tend to go long. So once I've made my paper decisions and I know where everything's gonna go, I go ahead and start putting things down. And I am probably what you would call like a wallpaper type scrapper. Pattern paper is my favorite supply. I like seeing lots of pattern paper. I will go, you know, edge to edge with different pattern papers, as opposed to maybe more like layering behind photos kind of a thing. I'm more of like a wallpaper type of girl. And I ended up cutting some strips of the blue B side, which I think this is the back side of the alphabet flashcards. So I'm using that as like a border between the two big pieces on the back. And then I had this strip left over from when I cut the flashcards. So I just took a notebook punch and made a border. And I'm just kind of finding ways of using these like little scraps that have already come off of the paper that I've cut. Now I went ahead and jumped ahead to where all my photos and my paper elements are attached to the layout. And from here, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of work my way from one side of the layout to the other. That's another thing that I don't normally do. Normally for me, it is paper down, photos, title, journaling, and then I move on to the embellishments. For whatever reason, the embellishing part of a layout is not my favorite, but this layout in particular, I just thoroughly enjoyed it. I was liking a lot of the small pieces of the sticker sheet, which the sticker sheet was actually from the embellishment kit add-on. So I was really excited that Rochelle had also given me that to work with too, because some of the die cuts that I had gotten, they were like bigger frames, and design wise it was just kind of in a different realm of where I thought I wanted my layout to end up. So it was nice to be able to have a mix of the die cuts that come with the kit and then also the sticker sheet. So that was kind of a fun addition to find in my kit to be able to pull from. And I just took those little flashcards and just found different ways to kind of embellish them and give them a little bit more interest. I used this green ruler border sticker and just cut the ends at an angle just to kind of give it a little more interest. Went ahead and inked the edge of that to help it kind of go with the rest of the layout. And again, I just kind of found small images that went with the image that was already on the flashcard. And then I made a little cluster up by the photo of the information about my daughter's award on the left, and I used one of the die cuts. I actually turned it upside down and cut off part of it and tucked it underneath and used it as like a cluster base. And that's something that I do a lot. Like if a die cut or a specific supply isn't going to work the way it is, I hands down will go ahead and cut that sucker apart and make it work for me. I've been known to punch things out of die cuts, die cut other shapes out of them, just kind of whatever works. And I was really excited to see that there was a sticker that matched the fox on the card, so I was able to pop him up with some foam adhesive and kind of make him a little bit more interesting as well. And again, I'm just kind of keeping the same things going across the layout. And then the giant tag, at first I was like, oh, whoa, hold on. I don't know the last time I've ever used a tag on a layout, especially one this big. And then during my kind of planning phase, I figured out, you know what, this would be a perfect opportunity to print my journaling on the tag and then kind of build my title and other things on top of this tag and have this tag sort of serve as a home for all of those elements. So in the end, it just kind of ended up being like a supply that at first glance I was a little intimidated by, and it turned out being probably my favorite part of the layout. And I will just go into a Word program, change my typing area to be the width of what I need to print it on, and then I just run it back through my printer again. And then again, I was a little intimidated from the Doodlebug chunky twine. I don't know the last time I've used twine on a layout. Ended up loving it. I think it was a good size to go with that tag, so they just kind of went together. And then again, it was pulling in the black from everything else. So it was like a fun process. I don't remember the last time that I've sort of stayed within a small sampling of supplies like this. Normally I, will get up, wander my room, find other things and go from there. And then I also was able to try out these new letter stickers from Simple Stories, which Simple Stories is one of my favorite manufacturers. When I was cruising Rochelle's online store, the other side of the store that's not kits, she has a ton of stuff, and she had just gotten these Simple Stories alphabets. So I picked up a couple colors, and I was so thankful to see that these red ones were going to work with this Echo Park line, and I absolutely love it. And then the only thing I really went back into my stash for besides the ink pad was these Doodlebug alphas. I really like mixing my titles with different size letters and different style letters. And so a lot of times I'll use these little circle ones or little square ones. But when I do use them, I like to put some foam adhesive behind them. And it just kind of gives them a more prominent level of interest on the finished layout. And then in order to kind of find the center without busting out a ruler and stuff like that, I just write down the word on a scratch paper, find the middle, and then I kind of know where to start building my word from the middle out. And then to finish up, I just kind of went back through that sticker sheet, pulled any little images that I also wanted to include, some phrases. I went ahead and added a ruler up to the top of the information for my son's award to kind of mirror the left side where my daughter's award was. If I thought about it, I would have tucked another die cut under his too, but I think at this point I had stuff was everywhere and I kind of forgot all the things that I was working with. And then I just made sure to stamp the date at the bottom of my tag, and then I used one of the little wood design apples that came in the Flavors of the Month kit to kind of ground the bottom of my tag. And that was pretty much it. So here is a photo of my completed layout and some detail shots. And Again, I thoroughly enjoyed this process and was pretty surprised to how quickly everything came together. And I thank you guys for spending a little bit of time for me today, and make sure to check the description box for more information. Thanks. Bye.